Hey guys, welcome to this live session by Intellipaat. Sorry for the delay, there were some technical issues. Now let's get started with this session. So in this session, we'll be learning Azure DevOps. It'll be a tutorial for beginners. So I'll be giving you a brief introduction about every Azure DevOps service. Then I'll show you how exactly you can start using them. So let's get started. First, let us look at the agenda of today's session. So first, introduction to Azure DevOps. I'll give you a brief introduction and then we'll move ahead with Azure DevOps services. After looking at these services, we will be managing Azure DevOps project. I'll show you how to use boards. I'll be showing how to create a pipeline and also how to integrate with GitHub. So after that, we'll have a quick discussion about how can you start off with Microsoft Azure. So let's say this particular live session would be the introduction for you. It would be the start for you. From here on, you can go ahead and start learning Microsoft Azure. So first, introduction to Microsoft Azure. So Azure DevOps is a tool provided by Microsoft Azure which can be used to implement a DevOps lifecycle in a business. So previously it used to be called Visual Studio Team Services or VSTS. Now it has been upgraded as well as rebranded to Azure DevOps. So now Azure DevOps. So we all know that DevOps is a concept or a methodology, but Azure DevOps is the name of multiple tools which you can use to create a DevOps lifecycle. So these tools are provided by Microsoft Azure, so they named it Azure DevOps themselves. So it is a little confusing when you're talking about it, but remember, Azure DevOps is not a methodology. Azure DevOps is a service which provides you multiple tools which you can use to create a DevOps lifecycle. So now to launch Microsoft Azure DevOps, you can basically go onto the portal.azure.com, and then you can search for Azure DevOps and then click on it and go ahead. Or you can just directly enter dev.azure.com. It will take you to the Azure DevOps website. So now this is how a sample Azure DevOps project will look like. So what are the benefits? Easy automation. So they have every single service embedded in it. So you just have to choose the service, choose the build option which you want. And then after choosing them, you'll just have to provide the YAML file, or you can just type in, or they already have pre-configured scripts which you can use to build and deploy your application. So it is very easy to automate. And then orchestration. You can basically use Kubernetes, Docker, Jenkins. You can use the other DevOps services in Microsoft Azure DevOps, and you can basically orchestrate the containers using them. So Microsoft Azure does not provide an orchestration service within that. Azure DevOps do not provide any orchestration service, but you can embed other orchestration services inside Azure DevOps. Effective monitoring, they already provide you a monitoring tool which is called Azure Dashboards, where they have various widgets which you can use to monitor your Azure DevOps project or your organization. And finally, rapid deployment. If you change your code but you have built a CI/CD pipeline, then when the change is made, and you create a pull request and merge the pull request, and once you've done it, once the code is changed, the build process will start. Once the build is complete, it will be pushed, and that deployment will be done automatically. So now let us look at these DevOps services which Azure DevOps provides. So the first service is boards, and then Azure Repos, and then pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. Azure boards is basically a Kanban board where you can assign work to your teammates, assign work to your subordinates, and also you can check out the available bugs, available issues, and then you can just click on them. Then once you go inside that, there will be other information about that issue or bug. So it is basically a Kanban board where you can manage your entire projects, bugs and issues, and every single other work done. And then Azure Repos. Azure Repos is just like GitHub or Bitbucket. It is a version control tool. As Microsoft owns GitHub, Azure Repos is built on top of GitHub. So it is the same infrastructure or same architecture, but the name is changed and it is integrated with Azure DevOps. And Azure Pipelines is a CI/CD pipeline tool. It is like Jenkins. You can create a CI/CD pipeline on your own. And then Azure Test Plans. So Azure Test Plans has both manual and automated testing. So in manual testing, you'll have to provide the conditions and then execute that testing accordingly. And automated testing, there is no free provision for it. You'll have to pay and then buy it. It will cost you around $50. You'll have to buy it. Once you bought it, then you can create automated testing. So automated testing in the sense you can basically integrate Selenium with it, so you can do that. And then finally, Azure Artifacts. Artifacts is basically a binary storage tool where you can store packages, where you can store images, where you can store videos. You can store any type of content, but mainly it is used for storing packages. So let's say the first time you are taking packages from the online source, from the npm's website. The second time, what you can do is, when the first time you're when you're getting those resources, when you're getting those packages, you can directly store them in the Azure Artifacts repositories. So once it is stored there, for the next time when you want to use them, you can basically, you don't need to actually again download it from the online website. You can just take it from your Azure Artifacts. So this will actually reduce a lot of time. Now let us look at these services in a little detail. So first, Azure boards basically are Kanban boards, backlogs, sprints, team dashboards, custom reporting. So you can track the work. So let's say you have a project on Azure DevOps, you can track the work using Kanban boards and other types of services like sprints and team dashboards using Azure boards. And also, so these are the most important components in Azure boards. Work items are anything. It can be a bug, it can be an issue, it can be anything. So these work items will be displayed on the board. So board is where you can create and visualize a team's workflow. And then backlogs are basically you can plan and prioritize one or multiple projects, also one or multiple work items at the same time. And then finally, sprints. So sprints are basically, in every single dev company, you will have sprints where you will divide a certain period of time into multiple sprints. So let's say you have 30 days in a month. So you divide 3 sprints, 10 days, and you assign certain jobs to a certain person within that sprint. So the thing is that before those 10 days, that person should be completing that task. So it is not required that he has to finish within 2 days or 4 days, but within that particular time period, that assigned work should be completed, and that we can track using sprints. And finally, queries. If there is a lot of issues, there is a lot of bugs, you can basically query them out and share it to your other colleagues. So let's say you want to share your bugs to your developer team. You want to share only a few bugs which is related to, let's say, the website's content. Then you can just filter them out and push it to the developer team using your mail or anything. And then Azure DevOps, Azure Repos, basically I told you it is a unlimited private repository for hosting your softwares. So it is the same as Git, and you can basically connect it and manage your repositories. You can connect it to your command line, which is Git Bash or your normal Linux command line. You can connect it to Visual Studio Code, the Visual Studio IDE, Xcode IDE, Eclipse, and IntelliJ IDE. So this is the Git lifecycle. So this is how it works. So you have your code or any objects or any files in your local workspace. Now you initialize it using the git command, git init. So once you've used that command and it is initialized, then you push it to a staging environment. And once you pushed it to a staging environment, so now after you've staged it, you can commit that file. So once you've committed that file, the system will know what files should be pushed when you're using the git push command. Then you can push it to the repository, which is in a remote location. So once that code is pushed to the repository, now from that repository, you can share it with your developer team. If it is a public repository, anybody can fork it. If it is a private repository, you can basically invite few people who you can give this particular repository, and you can work it around with them. And also, if you have new changes or any developer want to do some changes, they can basically pull the code to their system, make the changes, and follow the same procedure. And Azure Test Plans, as I told you, it is used for making manual and automated tests. You can do exploratory tests as well. Exploratory tests in the sense, if you have created a website and you have launched it, you can just start off the Azure Test Plan plugin. After starting it off, then you can do an exploratory test of that website, looking at various aspects, and if you find anything wrong, you can just screenshot it. You can create a bug or you can create an issue using it. Azure Artifacts, as I told you, from public and private resources, you can create and share Maven, NPM, Python, and various other packages. So the thing is, let's say your company is using NPM. So now developers are using a certain version of it, and the ops team are using a certain version of it, or any other person is using another version of it. So now, if all the versions are different, then when you push the code to the ops team, or when you push the code to another person, it might not work in their system because there is an inconsistency in the dependencies. So for that, you can create an artifact where you have all the packages. So when you put all the packages in artifacts, so now you can know which are the packages which are most commonly used, and you can make that package the common package throughout the entire software lifecycle. So there is no inconsistency in coding. And finally, Azure Pipelines. So it is an Azure cloud hosted pipeline for Linux, Mac, and Windows. You can create a pipeline for all of these operating systems. So you can create any kind of application on any language and deploy it to any cloud. It is not just you can deploy it to the Azure cloud. You can deploy it to AWS. You can deploy it to GCP. You can deploy it to IBM Cloud. Even you can deploy it to your own on-premise servers. So these are the features: continuous delivery. Whenever there is a change in the code and it is built, whenever the CI process is done, then that particular code is taken, that artifact is taken, and you can deploy it. Continuous integration also can be done using pipelines, where you can build, you can test the code. Then environment is basically a collection of resources and on which you can launch your application. So now using this, you can launch it on Mac, you can launch it on Windows, as well as you can launch it on a Linux system. And pipeline, so you can basically create the CI and CD stages of your project using Azure pipelines. And finally, run and stage. So run is one execution of a pipeline. So basically it is a concept. So run means one run of that entire pipeline, and stage is a logical boundary in it. So stages, in the sense, in one run there can be multiple stages. So let's say you want your code pushed first to a testing environment. Once you check the testing environment and it's working properly, then you want to push it to the production environment. So there are two stages, but only one single run. So these are the freely available options in Azure Pipelines. First, you get 10 free parallel jobs with unlimited minutes per month. So basically you get 10 free parallel jobs. That is only for open source projects. That is, if your GitHub repository or any repository which you are using is public. And then Microsoft hosted CI/CD pipeline. So you get one parallel job for free up to 1,800 minutes. But apart from that, so another parallel job will cost you 2,600 rupees per month. Not per month, per job. And self-hosted CI/CD pipeline. So this is for a pipeline which you are hosting. Let's say you're hosting using Jenkins and using Jenkins to host it on Azure Pipelines. So for that, one parallel job is free. If you host one more, then it will cost you 991 rupees. So now we've seen the basic services, which are Azure boards, Azure pipelines, build, repos, and also test plans and artifacts. Now let's go to the console and look at it. So I'll open Azure DevOps. So you can see this. Now click on My Azure DevOps Organizations. You can open it like this, or you can just type in dev.azure.com and it will again take you to your Azure DevOps console. Okay, so now you can see there is one organization here. This is my first organization. So I'll come from the beginning. So first, what is an organization? So you can have multiple organizations in the same inside a same account, because in an organization you can have various different projects in various different domains. So let's say you have 10 different domains, and in each domain you have multiple projects. So you can create 10 different organizations for those domains so that they don't mix up. So let's say you created one organization and put all the projects inside. All those projects will be jumbled and it will be hard to maintain. So instead you can create 10 different organizations and put that domain specific project in that domain specific organizations. So the basic step here would be to create a new organization. So first you'll have to click continue, and here you'll have to provide your organization name. I'm going to provide it as hello, or I'm going to provide it as YouTube Live org. So it was South India, fine, I'm from South India, so let it be, there's no issue. You can also give any location in the world. There's nothing wrong in that. So it will take some time. So once it's done, you can see I've created an organization. This is the existing organization. So now project name, and you have a public and a private. So if you're creating this project, you will have, you will get the free option. That is, you will get 10 parallel jobs for free if it is Azure pipelines hosted. So I'm going to give the project name as YouTube Live, create project. So done. So this is how your basic console will look. I think you are seeing it right now. So summary, this is a summary page. So there are no project stats right now. Then you can see dashboards. So it's loading. So yeah, so you can see you can create a dashboard, you can see add a widget. I'll show you this later. Then there is wiki, and so you can create a project wiki, that is basically your project's information. And then you have boards. So this is how it looks. You can create a work item. Once you've created a work item, you can assign it to someone. So I'll show that. So this would be the basic thing. So I'm creating an issue, and I'm going to name this as please check the title, and the stage is in to do and iteration. Okay, that's fine. So you can set the priority as well, 1 2 3 4. So let's say I'm going to set it to a 3 priority. Okay, so it is unassigned. So right now I would be the only user, so it will not show anything. So you can see that. So right now it can only be unassigned because there are no other users. Okay, so now this is how it will look. And one more thing, you can add a link. So if you have any repository linked to this, you can select a particular branch and link it with this particular title, so that the developer will know where exactly is the problem is in the repository, which code. So that's fine. So you can see this. If I save this, and if I go to boards, you can see this particular task is available here. So let's say if you have completed this, then you can, so let's say you're working on it, then you can move it to doing. So if you have completed it, you can just move it to done. So this is how it works. Okay, so this is basically this is the basic about boards. Now going to repos, so you can see right now there is no repository. So before that, I'll be importing it from my own GitHub repository. I'll be importing a website. I'll be showing how to import one, because most of you would be using a GitHub repo. So once you've imported it, then you can use it normally like how you use GitHub. The commands are the same. If you want to use it from your local Git bash, then the commands are the same. There are no differences in the Git commands. And then there is pipelines. So once we've pushed this, I'll show you the process. I'll not be showing you the complete deployment process. I'll be showing you how to create a complete pipeline, but creating a complete deployment process will take more time. So we'll be covering that in the second part of the session. So right now I am showing you this pipelines is there, then test plans is there, and then finally artifacts. So if I click here, you can see this is how it looks. So normally if you have, so you can create a run here. So right now there are no runs. So if you want test plans to work, for that you'll have to buy test plans. Right now I don't have test plans, so I cannot show you the complete usage of test plans. And then there is the artifacts. So as I told you, artifacts is basically a package manager, so you can connect it to a feed. So right now I'm not going to do anything else. Okay, so now let's start from repos. So for that, first we'll have to import. So to import, you'll have to give a repo name. So instead of providing it here, you can go to project settings. You could go to GitHub connections and connect your GitHub account. So I'm going to connect my profile. Okay, so yeah, I've connected my own GitHub account. So here you can either choose everything or you can just leave it. So I'm going to just choose, let's say I'm going to choose this particular so I'm going to choose this particular repository. Okay, so the thing is, you can basically select every single repository, or you don't need to select any repository. So you can also remove repositories. Okay, so now you can see to the connection to exist, you will at least have to select one particular repo. So I'm going to select this. I've selected multiple repositories, so let it be. That's fine. So I've created a GitHub connection. Okay, so now here you can see the overview. My project is public and the name. So this is the only person who is using this particular project. If you can add another administrator by giving their username, their email ID. And then one more thing, so let's say you're using boards, you're using repos, but you're not using test plans. So what you can do is you can just click here and remove test plans, and so done. So now if you refresh the page, you can see the test plans logo is taken from here. So let's say again you want test plans. So now you can just again click here, and then if I refresh, you can see the test plans logo added over here. So you can remove or add any projects, any tools, and yeah. So this is basically, and you can see here, you can basically give various people various permissions. So you can see here contributors, project administrators. So these are the various groups, and the only user is me. So in every single group, I'm the only user. And project configuration, so this is the only project available here, and there is only one sprint because I've not mentioned anything. So here you can see backlog navigation logs, epics and issues. You can choose which should be added to the backlog, and you can see the working days. You can add the working days accordingly, so according to your team work, so that if you add a sprint for 10 days, it will not consider Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so now let us import a repository. I'll be showing how to import. So for that you'll have to provide the GitHub link. So let me open GitHub. Sorry. Okay, I've opened GitHub. So I'm going to open my repositories. And I'm going to, let's say I'm going to open this. And I'm going to copy this. So this is the thing we'll have to paste here. I'll just close these. Okay, so you will have to paste the clone URL here, and you'll have to click on requires authentication. Then you'll have to provide your password. So let's say my password is going to be, I'm not going to tell my password. So yeah. So you can see once it's done on its way. So if your repository is huge, it will take some time to complete. My repository is not that big, so you can see it has completed. So now if I click on files, now you can see all the files pushed into this particular repo. Now you can use this repository as your own. So you can see there is a clone option, there is a fork option. You can upload files, you can download this as a zip file. You can also add new files. You can basically clone this into your local system, and you can just start coding it and pushing changes. So now you can basically set up a build directly from here. So if I click on setup build, it will take me to pipelines, and in pipelines it will take me to this particular YAML file. Okay, so I've been taken here. So let's change this. Okay, so let it be. I'm not going to change this. So I just wanted to show this. So let me go back to pipelines and click on create pipeline. So I'm going to use the classic editor. So because in classic editor, you can see the various things you can do here. So now you can see Azure repos, GitHub Enterprise Edition, Subversion, Bitbucket Cloud, other Gits. So my repository is in Azure repos, so I'm going to go with it. So you can see there are multiple branches. So mine is going to be the master branch. Continue, and I'm going to choose an empty job. So why did I choose an empty job? Because I know what exactly to do for my code. So what I'm going to do is I am going to change this into Windows 2019. I'm going to build my application using npm. For that, I'll first install npm. So you can see when I took npm, it is showing display as an npm install, and the command is install. Okay, so first I'm installing it. So you can see this is the source. This is my job 1. So here I'm going to give it as Azure pipelines, and I'm going to provide it as Windows 2019. Okay. So okay, so now you can see install, and this, it is going to take the npm packages from .npm rc. So that is, it is going to take directly from the npm registry, that is the npm website. Okay, the second thing I'll have to do is, again, I'll have to build my application. So for that, I'm going to use a custom command, and my custom command is going to be run build prod, because in my package.json file I have included this particular command, which will basically build my application, that is ng build -- prod. So that is inside this particular variable, so I'm running that particular variable. So that's fine. Next, I am going to add another job which will basically archive my built files, and here I will have to provide. So you can see it is not built yet, so it is not showing anything. So sorry, it should not be source. So usually when it's completely built, there will be an option of a dist file. So only if it is built, then you can use this particular code. So right now I'm not going to use this. I'm going to change my source. So I'm going to connect my source from GitHub. So this is to show you that you can also connect GitHub. So now authorize using OO. Now you can select the repository. I'm going to select, where is it? Angular app 2. Selecting it, master branch. Okay, so I've changed my source, and my install is going to be the same. My build is going to be the same now, but my archive, so you can see there is a dist folder here, because I've already built this application locally and uploaded it to my repository. So this is available over here. So now I'm choosing this to archive it. Next, after archiving this, the next logical step would be to publish this particular contents to my artifacts. So you can see publish build artifacts, because only if your dist file is published, then you can use that file to release your application. Okay. So now you can see artifact publish location is Azure pipelines, and you can see this artifact staging directory. So now how will this particular publish artifact know from where to get this particular staging directory? So if I come over here, it is dist, but coming down, archive file to create build.artifact staging directory. So this particular archive job will put this inside a directory. So that particular directory will be taken from this particular publish artifact job. So this public artifact job will take the archived file and then publish it to Azure pipelines. Okay, so now we have configured this. So one more thing you'll have to configure is triggers. So inside triggers, you will have an enable continuous integration option. So click on it and hit save. Okay, so now we have saved it. So now let's queue it. So why is it not saving? Yeah, so okay, fine. So we've saved it, we've saved this. So right now I'm going to queue this and run this. So I'm going to queue it and I'm going to run it on Windows 2019. So run. So this is how you build an application. So let's say my application was a Angular application. So for that, I have installed npm, I've built my application locally and uploaded to a repository. Then once I've uploaded it, and here I'm building it once again. And after building it, I'm archiving it and then I'm publishing it. So if I archive my dist directory, that is my apps files index.html and other files, and after archiving them, I'm pushing them, that is I'm publishing them. So now I can use that file to publish or deploy my application into an app service or a virtual machine. So that we'll see in another session. So right now let us see if the build process is successful. If the build process is successful and the pipeline process is successful, then we are already done with Azure DevOps. We'll just have to learn Azure and Azure App Services so that we can integrate Azure App Services with Azure DevOps. So let's see, it will take some time to install npm. So only if it successfully installs npm, then we can go ahead with the next process. If it fails, then we'll have to troubleshoot it again. So npm install is successful. You can see that over here. Now npm custom. So npm custom is basically building our application. If our application built and archive is taken and it is published, then we are good to go. So you can see it is running build prod. So obviously this will take some time, guys, the first time, because the first time it has to download every single dependency. Once it downloads it, it has to install it. Once it installs it, it has to build it from scratch. So you can see it is done. So it has been pushed successfully, and you can see archiving also was successful. Once archiving is complete, you can see one folder, 10 files done. So once that is done, it got published as well. So right now, as it is published, let us go to our artifacts. So you can see here, right now there is no feed, but if I go here and I'm going to edit this. So I'm going to edit the registry to my own artifact. Okay, so for this I'm not going to change, so let it be registry, and here I've changed it to my own artifact. So now let me save it and queue it, and I'm running it. Okay, so right now I'm running it for a second time. So if it succeeds, we'll be able to see few files downloaded here, which will be the npm packages. So this is my repos, and right now in boards, basically you can go here, you can see an issue. You can also connect with your own repository. So you can see build, and you can see the build number. You can add the build number here and the comment over here, and then click on OK. So once you've added that, then that will be so let's say that particular work item will be added here. So if a developer comes in, he can just click on the development link and directly go to that build number and check what is the issue with that particular build. So that you can do with this. So now discard changes, going back to pipelines. So it is sorry, you can see this master. If I clicked on this master, it took me to GitHub because it is connected with GitHub itself. So right now it's installing once again, guys. So you'll have to remember this: every time a build runs, it'll do the process completely from the first, because that's how DevOps works. You cannot use the previously installed version of it. So once this completes, then we can see. So it is installed. Now this should get installed. And once this is completed, we can check in artifacts whether there are any files downloaded to it. So you can see the last time it took around 50 seconds to complete. I think again it will take around 50 seconds this time. So it's still running. Okay, so build is successful, archiving is successful, publishing is successful. So right now let me go to artifacts. Where is my pipelines? So for npm custom, I have included my own artifact. Use packages from this. Okay, so I have used from that, but still there is no content over here. So one more thing, let's say your application is using a particular package. You can just click on connect to feed, sorry, and then choose. So let's say I want npm. So you have multiple options. So here you can see restore packages. Run this command in your project directory to restore. You can publish your packages. You can also upload your own packages from your local system using this command. And so using these commands you can do that. And again, if you're on Windows, you can do this. If you're on other operating systems, they have given you multiple steps to do that. Okay, so I'm not going to go in depth in Azure artifacts, so let's just go around with boards and repos. Okay, so now boards is done. So in boards, I'm going to show you one more thing. So where is it? Okay, so I'm going to open a README. I'm going to edit my README with something like okay, done. So I'm going to create a new branch, which is this one. So let's say before doing that, I'm going to create a new work item. So now you can see there is one user. I'm going to add that user. So it is in to do, and so you can actually include one. So it should be master, because whenever there's a change to master, it should go from doing to done. So I'm going to show you how that is working. So I've added it. So I'm saving it. So now going to boards. So now you can see this over here. So I'm going to push it over here. Okay, so now it is in doing state. So if I propose this file change, okay, so now I'm going to create a pull request. So right now you can see there is nothing over here. So I'm creating a pull request. So done. I've created a pull request. Let me refresh this page. Okay. So right now it is connected to master. I have created a pull request over here. Let me merge this. Okay, it got successfully merged and the change was fine. Okay, I think I've done a small mistake over here. So let me create a pull request from here. Okay, master into master. But okay, so I'll make a small change. I'll open readme once again. I'll just remove this and I'm going to directly commit it to master. So I've directly committed it. So let's see here. Why is it still showing that? Okay, got it. So the thing is, the mistake which is happening here is our work item is connected to this particular repository and not this GitHub repository. So I'm going to remove this. That's fine. I'm going to create a pull request over here. GitHub pull request, enter pull request URL. You can create it from here, or you can go to your repos, discard changes. You can go to your repos. You can make changes right from here. So where is readme? I'm going to readme. I'm going to change. I'm going to add a OK, and I'm going to commit it into master. So create pull request. So I just made a change. Okay, got it. So once if you have successfully done that process, basically you will get the GitHub logo over here. So if you get the GitHub logo, that means you are successful. Right now there's a lot of mistakes going on for me. So I'll show you one more thing before ending of this session. So you can see here, you can add a test from here. You can add one more task from here and add more iterations. So now I'll show you how to add a test. So click on add a test and you can say go to this site. Check the title, if right, pass the test. So this is basically a manual test. So if you added this, then if I go to test plans and I can basically create a run over here. So here, why are we adding this manually in this sense? Because we don't have automated tests. So we'll have to use the manual tests. So to pass off every manual test, so let's say go to this site. I've just given a generic title. So it would be written as go to www.example.com. So you will go over there, then check a particular title which is mentioned. If it is a right, then you will pass the test. If the test is passed successfully, then it's fine. Sorry guys, my throat is just a little sore. Okay, so I'm just going to give you another overview. So you can see here, if you're doing a project in Azure DevOps, you can see over here pipelines build succeeded is 100%. I've created 8 different work items. I've done 13 different commits. So this is just in the last 7 days. You can also change the number over here. You can invite other people to your particular project, and you can create dashboards. So let's say I want to create a widget for my build history, and done editing. Then I can configure this. I have only one build pipeline, and I can save this. So I can create a complete dashboard over here, which will show me every single information. So here you can see I have run 2 builds. This build ran in 2 minutes 15 seconds. This build ran in 2 minutes 14 seconds. That is, I have increased the efficiency of my build somehow. So you can create a complete dashboard over here. If your project is built completely in Azure DevOps, you can check every single aspect of your project in this single dashboard. Also, you can share this dashboard with other people. So you can see here, you can share it with other people as well if you create a complete dashboard for yourself. So guys, let me go back to the slides. Okay, so this is what you can do in your own demo. So what you can do is you can fork the Angular application, and then from your local application you can push it to an Azure repo. From an Azure repo you can build using Azure pipeline and release it. You can use the test plans, and you can basically push it back to Azure pipeline. Once it is done, it will deploy the application. And also you can integrate Azure repos with Azure boards. Okay, so right now in this session, we've seen the basics of all of these applications, all of these tools. In the next session, we'll be doing a complete hands-on, so stay tuned. So right now, we've come to the end of this session, but before ending this session, I wanted to show you something. So guys, if you want to learn a full-on complete end-to-end training on Azure DevOps, we have a right course for you. So we have these key features over here. So we have an instructor-led training where a live instructor takes a training for you, who is basically an industry professional who is working on Azure DevOps, will be taking a training for 70 hours so that you can ask your doubts and clear it then and there. We also have a flexible schedule where you can choose in weekdays and weekends. So also with the training, we provide you 108 hours of exercises and project works which you'll have to solve, which we will guide you to solve. And also you have lifetime free upgrade. So if you have purchased this course right now, you can take up this course even after 5 years again and again after 10 years. So you can keep taking this course until it so you for your entire life you have this course. And after that, you have a 24/7 support. You have a technical and a course support and an operation support. Okay, so now coming down, so these are the topics which you will be learning. So you will be learning Azure Resource Manager and other Azure concepts. You will be learning few DevOps tools, Git, Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, SVN, Maven, and Nagios. And also finally, you will be learning the Azure DevOps tools in detail as well. So we just seen the basics of it. There is a lot to come in Azure DevOps. And also, these are the actual contents. You can come to this course page and check it out. And these are the projects which we will be building. So first it would be an Azure project. Second would be an Azure project with DevOps. And third would be a complete DevOps project which you can host on Azure DevOps. So you can see you will be using Docker on Azure DevOps. So you can just come over here and enroll with this course. So you can see you can change the price accordingly. One more thing, this particular course is in collaboration with IBM and Microsoft. So you can see over here, it is in collaboration with Microsoft. So you will get a Microsoft certification if you have successfully completed this course with us. Also, if you have successfully completed this course and have your certification, we provide you job assistance, and also we provide you assistance in creating resumes and other other type of assistance in jobs, so soft skills and everything. So you can just go ahead and, if you want to do Azure DevOps training completely, you can just go ahead and take it from here. As well as if you're watching this training right now, if you're watching this session right now, you can go ahead and use the code YouTube30, and this particular code will give you an instant 30% off and you can benefit from it. So guys, Thank you for attending the session. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, you can just call us at this particular number for India. And if you are from any other country, you can call us at this toll-free number, which is 1-800-216-8930. And also, if you don't want to call us, you can just drop a mail and we'll call you back immediately. And also, you can chat with our course advisor in our web page, which should be on the right bottom corner. You can chat with us and we'll again contact you immediately. Thank you for attending the session. Meet you in another session.